Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Super Spy Podcast. Hey, look, I make no apologies. I'm not a technology wizard, and I'm learning all this stuff, but we're going to go ahead and hopefully get this podcast off on the right foot. Evidently, there are some technology glitches. I received a lot of email and messages that, hey, we didn't hear part of your podcast, and that's because I was doing a live one. Well, lo and behold, I went back and I started listening to it. I find it a little bit ironic, maybe suspicious. How about coincidental? Can I use all those words so that I don't get censored? But anyway, I find it really weird that when I was talking about weapons of mass destruction at Taji Air Base in just north of Baghdad, when I started talking about that, I guess I went dead for about 10 seconds. And then when I started talking about the unit I used to work with, the Defense Human Services, it too just kind of glitched. So I turned it over to a friend of mine. He looked at it and he said, "Don't worry, don't think anything's wrong." So with that, I'm going to move forward. I am going to start putting on the page, and it will be available for all of your listening, the chapters of each one of my books. I do have a couple of them already done. We just got to start publishing it. I got to make sure that I'm doing everything right. And I'm going to throw up some links of some really incredible books that I think everyone should read. Also, I'm trying to convince a few of these guys, hey, go audio with this. Also, if you know of anyone that would like to do a little bit of audio work, maybe just as practice, or once I become famous, I could pay them. But I'm not doing this for fame and fortune. I'm doing this for truth, the revelation of truth, and we need to start looking ahead. We need to start looking at today. All this Omicron and all this other stuff that's going on. I read an interesting report that South African scientists are now saying that this Omicron thing is a good sign that this COVID is about to run its course. So we'll see how that happens. They're saying within the next 6 months, and then we'll have to see what other kind of, what should we say, disaster that powers will have to come up with to stop us from continuing our course on being a free country. And I say that because right now we are in danger, and the danger is our southern border. Yeah, you haven't heard much about it, have you? Well, it turns out that a former chief of the Border Patrol has just announced our southern border is broken. It is wide open, and there's not much that they can do to stop it. Matter of fact, they're having a heck of a time getting people to help them out down there. Local jurisdictions, police, and everything else, they're doing what they can, because the population down there will tell you that they are being overrun by migrants. And just a few years back, there was an incursion of plenty of people that were coming across that just so happened to have a Middle Eastern background. I write about it in my book, Secrets Revealed, Terrorism USA. That's available on Amazon, and I may just have to break that out and put it on audio, especially some of the chapters that I write about. I have personal experience seeing on the New Mexico border some of the things that happen that Americans would absolutely shudder if they saw it. For example, military vehicles, Mexican military vehicles crossing into the United States, chasing people, what have you, but also firing their weapons. Ladies and gentlemen, understand this. If you're in one country and you cross over a border and you start shooting your gun, that could very well be mistaken as an act of war. But please let me stick to some of the facts. Earlier this year, in March 2021, the DHS Secretary Mayorkas, he acknowledged, and this is very troubling, he acknowledged that suspected terrorists have tried to cross the border every year. Now see, I knew that, and I've been trying to warn everyone about that there are suspected terrorists coming across our southern border. But now we've got the DHS Secretary actually admitting that we have this problem. And he said that they have the multi-layered security apparatus, using air quotes here, that has made it possible to identify and prevent them from entering the United States. Stop, okay? What we've prevented, that the fact that he is insinuating that we have prevented all from entering is very unlikely. Now, while the terrorism screening database, it does contain at least a million known or suspected terrorists, and the State Department's list of foreign terrorist organizations is equally long. But here's the problem. What we are not counting, first of all, the Border Patrol agents do see some of these guys trying to cross, like I said, on the left and the right flanks here, okay? But what we are not catching are the gotaways, okay? These are the ones, yes, that are seen by the agents but never apprehended. And they are estimating, because they could see them, that we're talking about 1,000 people a day. 1,000 a day. Now, if you are seeing 1,000 people a day coming across that you cannot apprehend, imagine how many more have been successfully coming across. But let me bring this a little bit. Let me make this clearer. In the first, I'm going to say the first 8 months of the Biden administration, the Border Patrol apprehended, listen to that word, apprehended more than 1.3 million illegal crossers. And that was just the first 8 months of the new administration. That's the highest number of illegal crossings recorded in any fiscal year since the government began tracking illegal crossings back in 1960. Now, I want you to think about that. 1.3 million illegal crossers, and those figures do not include those gotaways that I talked about. Those are the ones that have crossed over successfully and avoided apprehension. But, you know, they were detected by the CBP, the Border Patrol, but they were not apprehended. Now, why is this a big issue? Like I said, this southern border is wide open. We also have a new program, if you will, the Intensive Supervision Appearance Program, I believe it's called. I think I got that one wrong. But anyway, this is where ICE is really not allowed to go into the towns, into the cities, and actually apprehend these people. They're monitoring. They're allowed to monitor these people. But now they're allowed to, these illegal crossers are allowed to come into our country, and they're given a court date. Okay, here's what's so funny about that, and it's not funny, it's tragic. Okay, this is a tragic comedy, if you will. The wait time for one of those hearings is now 900, almost 950 days. 950 days that these people are living within our borders, getting aid from us, our taxpayer money. Now, I have not, listen, there's something I have not tracked down yet, but someone told me, and again, no, you know what? I'm not even going to mention it because I cannot verify it yet. But they are receiving financial aid from our government. And ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever tried to get financial aid from the government, good luck. It's an absolute nightmare. But they're getting it. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But here's what I don't understand. These crossers, and again, I'm telling you this because we have a crisis on the southern border. The border has fallen, basically, and everyone is just so focused on COVID, except when it comes to these crossers. These people are not required to have the vaccination. Now, I know some of you are saying, oh, but they're given the opportunity, everyone is given the opportunity. They have more freedom than us civilians, than us American citizens. They have more freedoms because they have a choice. They don't have to get it if they don't want. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any means. Hell, I was in the Army. They used to vaccinate us for everything. But the thing is, they're saying that that they don't have to be vaccinated to stay in this country. Yet the unvaccinated in this country are almost vilified, demonized, if you will, and told that, they can't go to restaurants, they can't go here, they can't go there. Yet here we're allowing 1.3 million people cross in and not have to worry about it. Now, I alluded to this earlier. The news about immigration policy, which is absolutely disgusting right now, has been heard around the world because right now, and I briefly touched on this, the majority of the illegal crossers that come from Mexico are not the majority of Mexicans. They're coming from Ecuador. They're coming from Nicaragua, Brazil, Haiti, Cuba, Venezuela. Haiti's the one that surprises me the most. Okay, because they're making like a multiple leg trip, and Cuba too. But there's different laws handling Cuban refugees. I won't get into that, but that's just the way it is. But here it is. This is the worst border security crisis I've ever seen, and it's likely to get even worse because unless the Biden administration reverses their policies and they start to enforce these immigration laws, we're going to be screwed. And that's just the bottom line. No, the violence is not coming from the Mexicans, okay? The violence is coming from the gang members, the drug dealers, the sex traffickers, and the terrorists that are coming across. And I highlight that in my book. So check it out soon.